some time to get the second on the board, but here's the first. Early on, the foul there by Lewis Hall, winning the penalty for Sydney FC.
Yeah, a little bit of an experience from Lewis Hall there, and Robertson and Bowles have made the good run into the box, and Shane Smelt's no problem for the penalty spot. But this was only 2 minutes into the game, and sometimes scoring a goal early makes no real difference to the opposition. They've still got 88 to get back into it, and as we saw, especially before Max Burgess scored that exceptional second goal there for Sydney FC, Sorrento were actually back in the game and had a couple of good opportunities to score, but good substitution by Graham Arnold. He took Shane Smeltz off, and this kid is a player of the future. You know,
14th minute, where Shohil Khan, who was a very busy player out there, a beautiful through ball and slotted in the back of the neck past Nick Munro. Well, for the rest of the half, they kind of controlled the game, but at the same time, Croydon did have their moments, just couldn't get that finishing touch. Well, in the second half, Croydon needed the early goal, but unfortunately for Croydon, it was Lions FC who scored the early penalty in the first minute of the second half, and coolly slotted away by Andre Bonotto. Well, you thought from there on it was going to be all over Red Rover, but they made it interesting. The skipper, with a bit of a deflection in the 65th minute, got one back. They tried hard to get one back in the end, but the better team won on the...
Converted by Marcelo Carusca, and at that point we wondered whether Darwin Olympic had the character to respond. Well, they made their point very clear. Less than 60 seconds later, Michael Tsunias equalised for Darwin Olympic. The reverberation around the ground was heard a long way away from this stadium. In fact, just on that crowd, I think we're looking at a crowd above 3,000 here tonight, so a good turnout for the match. But then Adelaide United steadied the ship. Jimmy Jego, a player who doesn't get a lot of headlines, put the Reds back in front with a brave header, and then added his second goal just before half-time with a one-on-one situation. And at half-time, the Reds were relatively comfortable, and they came out in the second half and basically dominated this match, although Darwin Olympic did have a little spell there to make life interesting. The ball or something hit the net. We're not quite sure whether it was a disallowed goal or not, but either way, it didn't count. And from that point on, Adelaide United went on with it with some goals by Thirio, the man who scored all those goals.
Gentleman out here who features in all the goals, who if he's not on the A-League radar at the moment after a performance like this, he well might be, and if he backs it up with a couple more. Tufik Alameddine, he scored the first goal and then he laid on the second. He's a wide right player, plenty of pace. He's got pace to burn. He laid on the second goal for Dylan McAllister, the former A-League man, a towering header at the back post there for Big Dill, so he put it away. It was 2-0. That was the half-time score. Perth came out with a bit more solid play, you'd say. That's the word for it, solid, in the second half. They were a little all over the shop in that first half, but Marko Jesic cut a swathe through the middle of the park, and it's a bumpy surface here, but he just kept running and running, played a neat 1-2 with Alameddine, and put away the third goal for the home side, and that was pretty much it. Paul Reid, the captain coach, hauled himself off on the hour mark. And around about the hour mark, though, Perth SC got a goal back on the 70-minute mark, I should say. Dean Evans was brought down, upended in the